everyone, and welcome. My name is Jovana Dunisijevic. I am a senior technical evangelist at Atlassian, and before this, I was a platform engineer for several years, working on the Jira cloud migrations, followed by scaling our internal cloud deployment and provisioning services. Today, I'm going to talk to you about dev tools that spark joy and how you can build a positive engineering culture within your organization. So what do I mean when I say a dev tool that sparks joy? Well, some of you probably already picked up that this is a Marie Kondo reference, but for those of you that don't know, Marie is an organizing guru, a best-selling author, she has a Netflix show, and she is the one that popularized this concept of objects that spark joy. Here's a quote from her that I'm going to read. Being surrounded by things that spark joy make you happy. Everyone has things that they love, things that they cannot imagine parting with, even though other people shake their heads in disbelief when they see them. You might ask, what does this have to do with dev tools? Well, at least for me, I do recognize the joy I feel when using certain dev tools. And I believe that you do as well. If you weren't passionate about development, you wouldn't be here today. And specifically, I'm talking about developer joy. We care about making tools that developers do not only find useful, but dare I say, enjoyable as well. And so luckily, Atlassian had the State of Developer Experience report that recently came out, where we surveyed over 2,000 developers and engineering leaders and learned more about what developer experience means to them. To try to summarize, improving developer experience and dev joy is defined as improving the lived experience of developers and reducing the points of friction they encounter in their everyday work. This in turn leads to increased productivity through effective, long-lasting tactics that also make your company more appealing to new hires. Because happy devs are more productive devs. And I want to share some long-lasting tactics that can make your company more interesting for your existing developers, but also your new hires. So what sparks joy for developers? The State of DevX report lists 3 things. Number 1, awesome tools. Number 2, dev teams that are empowered to make decisions as a team. And number 3, an amazing engineering culture. So if you put all these together, you're going to have a recipe for happy devs and more productive teams. Now, before we get started, why do we think you should trust what we're saying about developer experience? Well, Atlassian has been named a leader in the Gartner Magic Quadrant for DevOps platforms again. And this was the 2nd year in a row. And we've been actually named number 1 for the platform engineering use case review that they did. We've done a ton of research. We've also implemented these tactics internally. So it's safe to say that we know what we're talking about. All right, let's start with number 1, awesome tools. How you can improve your developer experience with these recommendations. I'll start by getting you to think about a time you tried to get devs to adopt a tool that they didn't really want to use. And how did that go? In my experience, it didn't go so well. If devs aren't bought into the value or ease of use of a dev tool, they just won't use it. It's simple as that. And I think that's really fair enough. We ask so much from developers right now. There are so many tools they have to use every day. There are different kinds of tools. They get more and more niche. And switching companies requires you to also learn a whole different tool chain. But even switching teams within the same company, you still get exposed to new tools. So when you are a platform team and you're charged with providing company-wide services, or you're charged with keeping operations running, implementing standards or best practices, and everybody is using different tools, that can be very challenging. Thankfully, internal developer portals exist. An IDP can help platform teams understand companies' current compliance and application health while still enabling developers to use the approved dev tools that they prefer. So, how Gartner defines internal developer portals? They say IDPs improve developer experience and service reliability while enabling centralized governance and shared visibility across multiple teams. And the way this typically works is a platform engineer would set up an IDP, get it ready, and then provide that to their product developers who are consumers of their service. So how do IDPs help you improve your developer experience? Well, they solve three primary problems. The first is search. We want to help devs find what they need when they need it. So you can store a ton of different data in your IDP, and as it's a component catalog, you're going to store repositories, you're going to store documentation, API specs, links to your third-party dashboards, team ownership, chat channels, the list goes on. All of that can be stored in a single place. So when you are a dev and you have to integrate with an unfamiliar service and you have questions about something, then you only have to go into one place to find all that information. Number two, use software templates to start a new service in a single click. In that click, you can clone a repository, set up a CI/CD pipeline, set up a new AWS resource, or any customizable actions that you want and still follow best practices automatically. And then number three, scorecards. These help platform teams stay on top of the organization's application health. So you can track things like code coverage, security vulnerabilities, incident rate, and any sort of application metric health that you want. Track it and watch how your components are performing against the standards that your platform engineering team have set up. So to summarize, IDPs can help devs provide a searchable, complete catalog collection of their software architecture, provide templates to speed up service creation, and scorecards to help teams understand application health and technical debt. However, awesome tools can't spark dev joy by itself. You can't give developers a great tool and just say, here, please go be happy now. Dev joy comes from empowered dev teams using awesome tooling within a supportive engineering culture. So what does it mean to empower a dev team? Well, at least in our experience at Atlassian, empowering dev teams means giving them the keys to the car. Now, product managers might be writing requirements and acceptance criteria. We might have operational goals, and we're all deciding on the destination together. But we are letting the developers drive. They're the ones picking the route. And they might find a shortcut, but they might also run into traffic. In any case, they're in control of the car, and they're responsible and accountable for getting to the destination themselves. This builds accountability in the systems that they're building and the way that they're cataloging all this information. Having a fully customizable IDP can really contribute to empowering your developers. That way, you'll be encouraging shared ownership and joint accountability for keeping the catalog up to date and useful, but also the services in the catalog functional. And how do we know that this works? Well, Atlassian did it. Now, I want to share the story of how we built our own IDP we call Compass, how we've extended it and adopted it, and where all of these solutions are available. Let's take a quick detour and talk about how Atlassian started to prioritize developer joy. Like many of you have experienced, Atlassian grew very quickly, and so did the level of complexity and the amount of information that our developers were expected to keep track of. We hit a point where our company's growth was impeding our progress, making it harder for us to maintain quality, maintain the security and compliance, and still keep our developers happy. Additionally, we were seeing our productivity dropping, which meant more duplication of effort, people didn't know who to talk to, it wasn't quite clear which applications were healthy and which were not, and as a result, our developer culture was at risk. We were asking more from our developers, but not helping them adjust to the new reality of working at scale. So our engineering teams got to work deciding how to better support our developers through this change. If this slide looks familiar to you, It's because these are also the three primary problems that IDPs solve. We knew we needed solutions, but this was way before many IDPs were on the market. So we built one ourselves. Platform engineering teams in your companies are having these same problems, if they haven't already told you. Every healthy, growing company goes through this pain. So we built an early version of an internal developer portal. It was developed by engineering teams who wanted a service catalog with ownership, self-serve service creation, and an opportunity to monitor application health. It worked so well for us, so we turned it into Compass. Check out how similar Compass is to our internal version from way back then. Our production instance of Compass today has over 26,000 components. It's needless to say that we really use it heavily. So we talked about awesome tools, we talked about empowering developer teams, but what does it mean to have an amazing engineering culture? Well, Atlassian has worked hard to make innovation a habit. And you can see from our core value, be the change you seek, that this mentality is deeply rooted in Atlassians. It's not just some corporate motto, it's really how we work. In fact, one of our largest internal programs embodies perfectly this value of be the change you seek, and we call it Ship It. It's our global hackathon, and really a 24-hour innovation sprint where everyone at Atlassian is encouraged to innovate on anything that they want. Atlassians unleash their creativity and work on passionate projects during that time. It's something we internally religiously dedicate our time to. Not only does this hackathon contribute to developer joy, but we also see many incredible ideas go into production. Our founder, Mike Cannon-Brookes, even said, "Ship it, don't skip it." So we noticed that many Atlassians have maximized on their innovation time to address some of the passionate projects that they really wanted to bring to Compass and leveraged its extensibility. And I want to share a few features that started out as Ship Its, but ended up getting shipped into Compass. Recently released Custom Column Selector. Yes, it started out as a Ship It project. With Custom Column Selector, you can now be more efficient in narrowing down your search by selecting as many fields as you want when looking for the right component, including your custom fields. Dark Mode was also an innovation project. Every developer wants it. It does enhance the product experience for us. And one feature that took several Ship-Its to get it going and a number of people to join the project, so we really like to say it takes a whole village to raise a feature. This feature lets Compass users see a visual map of their component dependencies, helps them understand and manage the sprawl of these dependencies, and investigate and resolve incidents quickly. But let's bring it back to IDPs again. Developers are happiest when they're solving problems, just like our developers did with those features I just showed you. They were working on things that they felt were missing in their tool. So now you might be wondering, how can you encourage that same kind of innovation within your own engineering organization? Well, one way is to enable your engineers to customize and extend their IDP. And Atlassian doesn't just talk the talk, we do walk the walk. Since our IDP is very customizable, there have been dozens of projects by developers to extend our internal instance, building additional applications. And I want to show you 3 ways that Atlassian has extended Compass, hopefully get you inspired to make your own extensions for your own specific needs, whichever IDP you use. Number 1, TechOps. TechOps delivers weekly reports that help teams prioritize tasks like addressing vulnerabilities and analyzing cost or performance changes. These reports provide insights into team management, they highlight operational focus areas, and evaluate service health. This application utilizes features such as custom automation, dashboards, metrics, third-party integrations, but also GraphQL API. TechOps uses Compass's scorecard features to enhance the TechOps review quarterly experience for our teams. This integration links scorecards with TechOps, allowing users to access TechOps data directly. The goal is to present actionable insights and recommendations on the scorecard. Number two is work games, and we use it for chaos engineering at scale. Chaos engineering is a proactive testing mechanism that helps platform engineering teams understand system reactions to unknowns. By simulating failures in our services or APIs, it uncovers bugs, monitors for edge cases, and identifies bottlenecks, ensuring that systems are resilient and reliable. The WarGames application evaluates system performance under unfavorable conditions by creating a fake incident, and the team's goals is to use this as a performance evaluation for monitoring, for user experience analysis, and error simulation. You can actually automate WarGames directly from Compass, integrating plans into your CI/CD pipeline. You can also schedule your runs using APIs and set up Slack notifications for updates. Number three, PaaS deployments. For any service owner, this is a one-stop shop where they can get fast information for their feature releases and do it without any bottlenecks. With PaaS deployments, we easily gain insights into service deployments by filtering environments and regions. For each service deployment, you can view the deployment IDs, you can see both stable and previous stacks, you can see the time that elapsed since the last deployment, you can look at the traffic distribution percentages between those stacks, and the AWS account details for a specific region and environment of your deployment. So we can see that Compass's success within Atlassian really depended on our developers being invested in extending Compass as their IDP. And our engineering team today really depends on Compass. We noticed that we really needed it to continue to grow as an organization. This is just one of the ways that we maintain an awesome engineering culture at Atlassian by providing great tooling for our developers to use and giving them the autonomy to improve and extend it to fit their needs. You can do the same by investing in an internal developer portal like Compass, by providing awesome tools and empowering your developer teams to customize them. You will also promote an amazing engineering culture, and most importantly, spark developer joy. Thank you so much for listening. Feel free to reach out on LinkedIn if you have any questions.